Through our new Counterterrorism Partnership Fund, we're prepared to work with Congress to provide additional equipment. We have had advisors in Iraq through our embassy, and we're prepared to send a small number of additional American military advisors, up to 300, to assess how we can best train, advise, and support Iraqi security forces going forward. American forces will not be returning to combat in Iraq.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard. Welcome to Mary Walter, back with us. Good to see you again.
Good to be back.
We're going to have a minute before I start speaking with Dr. Ben Carson, but a lot of people, I'm sure, especially on the Republican side, are going to be critical of what the president had to say and didn't say. No airstrikes announced, no, you better cut it out, we better stop ISIS. Basically, he said, hey, the Iraqis, stop your sectarian problems.
That does seem to be our foreign policy, is could you guys just play nice?
Yeah.
Because it would make me really happy if you would just play nice.
Yeah.
But the American people, I don't think, have any kind of confidence in him and being able to handle this and his ability to handle this. So I don't think he's going to disappoint anybody, because I think expectations are so low for Obama that he's going to crawl right under that bar. Yeah, and the polls that were out yesterday, the Wall Street Journal, NBC poll on foreign policy and everything else, trustworthiness and ability to lead and do the job, really almost at all-time lows. Well, it's the same opinion of Congress. But what baffles me is we'll vote the same people back in. It's so maddening. It's just, and then we get in a situation like this, and then we're surprised that no one can handle it. Yeah. Well, we'll talk to people who have a lot to say about Iraq later in the broadcast. We'll have the panel with our panel of experts, and they'll weigh in on what Barack Obama did say, and I guess, as I said earlier, more importantly, probably what he didn't say. All right, I'm going to be joined in a second by Dr. Ben Carson, but first, let's all watch this.
Should they be able to stay here? It's safer.
It may be safer, but that's not the answer. In southern Mexico,
they should be sent back now.
Well, they should be sent back as soon as it can be determined who responsible adults and their families are, because there are concerns about whether all of them can be sent back, but I think all of them who can be should be reunited with their families. And just as Vice President Biden is arguing today in Central America, we've got to do more. I started this when I was secretary, to deal with the violence in this region, to deal with border security. But we have to send a clear message. Just because your child gets across the border, that doesn't mean the child gets to stay. So we don't want to send a message that is contrary to our laws or will encourage more children to make that dangerous journey.
All right, something we've been playing for the past few days, an issue where Hillary Clinton has separated herself, obviously, from Barack Obama, at least to some extent. Joining us now, as promised, is Dr. Ben Carson, of course, former chief of pediatric neurosurgery at Johns Hopkins Children's Center, and the author of a great new book, One Nation, What We Could All Do to Save America's Future. Hello, sir.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How's the tour going? How's everything?
The tour is great. You know, I was on the airplane today coming from Florida to Washington, D.C., and gratified to see 2 or 3 people reading the book.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. That's got to be a very good feeling, I can't imagine. Well, congratulations on it. All right, so a great piece at National Review on this very illegal immigration issue. And you talk about how we have to stop basically putting up in neon lights, come, break the law, get here, and you will be rewarded.
Right. I mean, as long as people are incentivized to come, of course they're going to come. It doesn't matter what you do. So all we have to do is reverse the gradient. You know, in chemistry, you know, you have osmosis. You put a lot of dry things on one side of the barrier, it sucks water in. Well, you just put them on the other side of the barrier and it sucks it out. And, you know, we have to change the gradient. And, you know, it's easy for people to get in here. It's easy for them to enroll their kids in school. It's easy for them to get a job, to get an alternate identity, to get welfare benefits. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Why wouldn't you come here?
Well, I agree with you, and you know, one of the problems is not only on our end, but on, for instance, we're talking about people coming across the border from Mexico, and especially Mexicans. The government, to one extent or another, provides CDs, provides booklets, pamphlets, how to get by the border guards, how to circumvent our laws, what to say when they get here. Why on earth would we still deal favorably with a nation that does that?
Or with a nation that keeps our soldiers who inadvertently went across their border. I mean, it's absurd. I mean, those. You know, there are not many things that irritate me, but I tell you that does. That we would neglect our own soldier for any kind of political reason seems absurd to me. And they ought to be. Everybody throughout the world should understand that there are consequences for doing things that are not good for us. We don't just sit by and say, okay, no problem, what's next? And for messing with our citizens. There was a time when American citizens were pretty safe because people knew that if you mess with them, there was a price to pay. It was sort of like with the ancient Roman Empire. Ancient Roman citizens, you know, had command of the world. They'd go anywhere. Nobody would dare touch them. You know, I personally am in favor of that.
Well, what should the president do to bring us, or closer to that kind of a realization or a real situation, which obviously now does not exist? And we're going to speak later to Jill Temerisi, the mom. Once again, we've had her on several times, of Sergeant Temerisi, who is, of course, as you alluded to, imprisoned in Mexico, an on-duty, an active-duty Marine, which is just a travesty. But let's focus on the children also that are coming here. Basically, a lot of people have said, through the encouragement of this administration, that the president hasn't said even what Hillary has said. Hey, stop sending your kids here. They're going back one way or another. They're not welcome here. We got these refugee camps set up, many are calling them. What should be done about that?
Well, first of all, they have to get here, which means they have to traverse another country. And that country, if they are not allied with us in terms of stopping, that makes them adversarial to us. And if that's the case, we should make that known to them. And we should make it known to them that there are consequences for being our adversaries.
And
I mean,
Go ahead.
That's a fairly simple thing to do. And then also, we should not integrate those children into our society. When they come, they need to be held and retained until we can find a place to send them to. But
out of the country, correct?
Out of the country, of course.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm a compassionate person. I spent my whole life, helping children. But at some point, you have to recognize that you have to deal with your own wounds first. It's just like when you get on an airplane and they say, if there's a depressurization of the cabin, the mask will drop down, put yours on first and then help the person next to you. There's a reason for that, because if you're not functional, nobody's going to get any help.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. And I do want to touch on the Temerisi again. If you were president right now, what would you do? How would you try to get him out?
Well, I would demand that he come back, and if they don't send them back, I would use our trade agreements against them. I would do things to hurt them economically. I would turn up the screws. I mean, they would be hurting. Yeah,
and you wonder why we haven't heard the name of that brave Marine cross the lips of Barack Obama even once since he's been in captivity in Mexico. And at first, as you know, Doctor, he was chained to his bed like a dog for the world to see. And even that humiliation wasn't enough to motivate the commander-in-chief.
Well, when they humiliate one of our soldiers, they humiliate us as a nation. Yep. Because they say, we have no respect for you. And it's like they're thumbing their nose at us. And that we don't do anything about that, I think, is an insult.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So what do you think of those lost emails? I mean, I didn't know you could lose emails. I didn't know that they ever could disappear. Now they're saying they recycled the hard drive. I guess Lois Lerner will get an award for being a great environmentalist soon.
It doesn't matter because emails go on a server.
Right. So how could they claim they're lost forever?
I think they're going to have to back off of that one. They didn't even think through the prevarication very well. So, they need to. if you're going to be a liar, at least be a good one. But, that's pretty bad.
It is pretty bad. It is very bad.
The worst thing about it is that it's making a mockery of honesty in government. And that has severe implications. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an issue of the integrity of our government and our system. Everyone should be outraged.
One more for you, Doc, real quick. I know you're big on freedom of speech, as we all should be. What's your view on the Patent Office taking away the protection of the Redskins trademark?
Well, you know, the way I would have handled that is I would have done a big survey of Native Americans to find out what they think. From what I'm hearing, the vast majority don't feel insulted at all.
Yeah, 80% the last survey I saw of Native Americans.
So, I mean, if that's the case, this is much to do about nothing, which is what a lot of political correctness is about. It's sort of like the kid on the third grade playground who would always be going around trying to stir up trouble. Did you hear what he said about your mama? You know, people were just, you know, playing along, having a peaceful time. Here he comes, stirring up trouble. You know, that's what this is. And the fact of the matter is, the last time I checked, people make mascots of things that, you know, they want to be associated with, not things that are insulting or things that they want.
Which is exactly what the Redskins claim that the mascot and the name stands for, that it's honoring the Native American. Hey, Doctor, thank you so much, sir. Again, the book is One Nation. Dr. Ben Carson, always appreciated, sir.
Thank you very much.
When we come back, Mary and I and the Malzberg panel. Don't miss it.